Make a motion that we open the meeting.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, let's get started with the special one-day licenses, Abandoned Brewery, Building Brewery, and New City Brewery. So, state your name for the record and let us know what's going on.
Sure, I'm Sam Dibble from New City Brewery.
And I'm Matt Tarlecki from Abandoned Building Brewery.
I do.
I put 4 permits together, 3 of which are joint permits, so I'd like to start there, if that's all right. We've poured the last 2 weekends at the Millside Park. It's gone very well. We've had close to 1,000 people the first day and a little over 1,000 people the second day. We did as the board stipulated we do, which is set up a boundary along the bike path to delineate the park and kind of contain access to the park, which has worked well. And people seem to receive the music and the food, and there's been artists set up a little art market, and of course our beer very well. No incidents of any kind. And these 3 dates are the next 3 Saturdays. It's identical setup every time. Just enjoying the wonderful facilities of our Parks and Rec.
And what were you doing for identification for once people were ID'd? Are they getting a bracelet or a stamp? What are you
It's a
doing?
wristband.
As we discussed, tip certified personnel identify people and wristband them before they get to the beer tent. So if they come to the beer tent, they don't have a wristband, they don't get served. They go back to be identified.
And what does it look like? Is it
It's like a concert wristband. Yeah, it's
Okay.
color coded. Again, like there's no incidents that I know of, and IDing is better for the beer servers because then they don't have to sit there and check everybody's
Right.
IDs. They just verify that they have the wristband.
Were you guys outside?
Yep.
Yeah.
Under a tent, little pop-up tent. Yep.
Is there a limit of drinks that one individual can purchase when they come up to the tent?
1 per person.
One per person.
We don't do multiples.
So someone coming up could not buy 2 and then say give the other one to someone they're sitting with?
No.
Okay, so these are gonna be identical to what you've just been doing?
Correct.
At the Millside Park with entertainment?
Yep.
And what we discussed last time, which is you have the fencing. You have
Correct.
tip certified, you've got bracelets.
Yes.
You've got the police detail, everything
Yes.
is there.
Parks and Recs put their security on there, and EPD as everybody's informed. We don't have an active police officer there. It's the Parks and Rec security officers. There was 1 the first time, and there were 2 the last time.
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, and they're their private security, or whatever the Parks and Rec security are.
Okay,
And then EPD does it patrols, and they patrol pretty regularly.
okay, all right. Well, I guess I thought that you hired you contracted with the East Hampton Police.
No.
You didn't?
The park police don't have a rust power, do they?
I don't know.
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so. Do you want me to get a police detail?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
I mean, I drove by, what, did you have it last Sunday?
Last Saturday, this past Saturday and the Sunday before.
One of those days I drove by and it was
There's a lot of people. Yeah.
I forgot all
Totally.
about it. Whoa.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to EPD. And
I think you should do that.
If we
I
need
think
to
we
hire
want-
a
I think we
detail.
want you to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think according to Parks and Recs, when they do contracts, they require a police detail.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm so kind of surprised that didn't come
Yeah.
up.
Okay,
So,
sure.
I think you should, so do that.
No problem. Yeah, I'll talk to the team.
And now, when you're doing the fencing, as far as, just because, again, I was surprised how many people were there.
Sure.
So the fencing is,
It's called snow fencing.
yeah,
Or
and
is it
I'm less
4
concerned
feet
about
tall?
what. Well, I am, but for right now, I want to know where. So here's the.
I can draw it for you. if you
Yeah,
want.
you do it. Show me
problem.
where exactly that fencing is.
So if you were to walk down the bike path, there's a wooden fence that's sort of always there it separates the parking lot from the park.
Mhm.
We put the fencing up from that wooden fence all the way down along the bike path until there's until the woods basically.
So the park is the bike path. The park has its own fence here, and we set up the sort of gate, if you will, even though it's a free show. We set up the door to kind of orient people here, and then the fence goes the whole way along. This is the basketball court here, and the fence goes from there's like a arbor vitae hedge. So the fence goes from there continuously all the way to the park corner.
Right. So that makes it at least very inconvenient to try to walk from the bike path to over here.
Right.
Right,
It's
yeah,
a 4-foot
and
high snow fence, which is like you said, it's like a fluorescent sort of plastic vinyl.
Like
fence.
construction fencing, yeah. And there, so we set up food vendors here as well, so they have their support vehicles kind of here in this zone, up on the grassy knoll. It's kind of a terrible drawing. But it also is kind of like people aren't gonna approach from this direction, and then we're set up in the basketball court here, and we didn't get anybody coming down. People kind of sit up on the hill there or whatever.
Right. So
And
people do congregate here
they
along there,
sitting,
but,
not really
yeah.
behind the food vendors and stuff. This has kind of been, there have been a lot of people for food. We've even sold some of the food vendors out of food completely.
Mm.
It's been pretty big, but no, mostly just people sitting here, and then there's the bathroom is here, and not a whole lot. I mean, people just sit in this area,
Mm.
not really like near the fence, more like close to the little sidewalk that's here.
Okay.
And
So
then
everyone
the wristband
really,
tents.
really, the only feasible entrance exit is through here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, unless you're like, unless you're jumping over the construction
Sure,
fencing.
sure. There's only so much you can do.
Sure.
What about the other end? What's all of this out here?
There is the pond edge, kind of comes like that, and it's all wild and overgrown.
Yeah.
And the fence here goes all the way to the woods. So this is woods. And we had a bunch of recycling and stuff here, so the security guard and one of our people, one of the concert people, were set up here, and so they can observe that whole section. You know, it's not, access isn't really a problem because we're not charging to get into the show, so it's not like you've got a line of people here that are waiting to give tickets in or anything. It's pretty smooth. When Millside Park does like polka and that kind of thing, it looks very similar. There aren't quite as many people, but people sit up here and
Yeah, yeah, no, I've been to a show like that,
Yeah.
when they do that series.
we have some more personnel than they do for those shows, so we're able to kind of keep eyes
Yeah,
out.
I mean, that's what caught my eye, because that's certainly way more people than I've ever seen.
Sure.
There.
Yeah. We saw a lot of people from the town
I bet.
last week, and
Mm.
it was pretty cool.
Anything?
Hmm,
Okay.
Happy with what they presented.
Okay. Nikki, do you have any questions?
Where is the grandstand? Where is the music being played?
There's the band shell, yeah, the band shell's here.
And how is this, where's the parking lot?
All
It's
here.
all over here, okay.
You drive in and you park here and then walk.
Okay.
And then the new parking lot for the mills is here. There's
Okay.
a retaining wall here, and there's one entrance down here from the upper parking lot in. But that parking lot was completely full, like end to end. There's 440 parking spaces.
So you're saying that the upper parking lot was full too?
Yeah.
So how are people walking from there to here?
There's
I know there's
there's
stairs here.
There's two little pathways. There's
Yeah,
in
there's
this
one down here,
in
and
this
one way
scale
down
What we
there.
were talking about now, walking.
in this scale there's a path here,
Right.
and then there's another path here.
Right. Well, because over here you can kind of walk, because there's not like the retaining wall sort of
Tapers down.
tapers
Yeah.
down to
Yeah.
right here.
And then there's a
So
path
if you
that
get
they
like to the
pave.
Legion, you can kind of walk. You don't have to really.
No, you don't have to go down that far. There's
Yeah.
another. They made another cut to the rear entrance of
Right.
Mill 180. It's maybe 50 yards down from the entrance of the brewery,
And then there's one up past.
by
By
almost
his
across from
place,
his
yeah.
place. So
And
if you
that's
parked way
steps
down
that go
there.
down to the bike path.
It's a handicap access smooth ramp, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not steps. I wish they had built steps like right here, but.
So, there is some prevention for people walking out that way with alcohol.
Oh, yeah, no.
Out of here,
yeah,
you
we-
can't leave there with alcohol.
Just like at the brewery beer garden,
Mhm.
there's signage and people watching. And I didn't see anybody
Mm.
doing that.
Alright. Questions?
No, I'm all set, yeah.
Hope you guys can make it down for one, it's pretty fun.
This one, you can almost guarantee it.
So we're considering for 3 right now, this is the Easter egg, that's just
That's a
separate.
separate
That's
one,
separate, okay.
yes.
So, someone wanna make a motion on all 3? Or would you like to do it individually? It's up
I'll
to you.
do all three.
Okay.
Alright, so I make a motion that we grant the one-day license for abandoned building brewery and New City Brewery for Mudside Park for September 3rd, September 10th, and September 17th.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Am I holding these licenses for any particular reason? Or no?
I guess would like to see, from the amount of traffic that I saw there, as surprised as it was to me, I think it's, the police detail is very important.
Sure.
So-
We talked to them,
Okay.
Salem Derby, Counselor Salem Derby talked to the chief about what we were doing, and, but we'll tell him flat out that we need a detail.
Yes,
And we'll
so
do that.
whoever you're talking to, could you please forward us some either correspondence or an invoice from the
Sure.
EPD
Yeah.
showing that you're doing that?
No problem.
That would be helpful for us to have that on record.
I've never hired a police detail before, but I'm sure, like you said, there's some kind of invoice for.
I'm sure
Now,
there's
is
a
it,
mechanism.
is it up to you, or is it up to?
Kyle.
Hey, it's not
Production
the police
group.
department.
Uh,
So it would either be coming from you or the production group?
right. I wonder, I mean, he has a production company, so.
I
it
just don't
could-
know who is responsible for hiring.
Sure. Well, we're pulling the
The one-day license.
one-day licenses, so I think it might make sense for us to just take charge of that. So, yeah, why don't we take charge, because we probably have maybe a little bit more robust liability insurance and anything else, you know.
So I will contact them tomorrow and let me know.
EPD, you mean?
Yeah,
Cool.
and let me know, and once I receive those, copies of those invoices that you've hired, then I can release these to you.
Do you have any experience with them? Do you know how long it takes for them to draw up papers or
I
anything like
do
that?
not, but I'm sure they're.
Within the week anyway,
I'm
before
sure.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would tell them
Okay.
the date of your event.
Cool.
And
I just don't have any experience with it, but
I do not as well.
I'll go
But
over there
yeah.
first thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay, great.
You don't think they'd be available to talk about that tonight, right?
To be honest with you, I don't know, but it never hurts to go over and ask.
They're right here, so. maybe I'll discuss
The
it.
chief won't be there, and
Right.
it's the chief who you would.
Maybe I could make an
need to
appointment
talk
or
to.
something, so
Probably.
I'll go over there.
Yeah.
I'll go over there right now.
Yeah.
So we're actually gonna move on to yours separate special?
Sure, yeah,
There's a sergeant on, so he could probably put the word right in.
sure, sounds
Yeah.
great, sounds great.
All right,
Yeah, we're good, man.
all right.
Thank you, appreciate
Yep.
it.
Thank you guys for meeting with
Okay,
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is now moving on to New City Brewery, so this is for 180 to October 1st.
October 1st, so it's called Eastoberfest. It's a little celebration of fall. As I understand, when we have maybe a bigger event, that triggers the need for a special permit, because we're gonna have more people than we typically do in the brewery. So I just wanted to put this in and kind of tell you guys it's not going to be anything too huge. He does Food Truck Fridays and takes over a section of the parking lot. We have some additional sidewalk space right outside the brewery that I would fence off and potentially have a little bit more seating or sort of standing room for people. And there might be an additional area inside the brewery that we cordon off for people, get some porta potties and accommodate maybe a couple hundred people as opposed to our usual crowd. So, it's just a small sort of festival date. It originally was gonna be all 3 breweries and take place inside Mill 180, at the new restaurant, but they sort of said that was a little too much for them to handle, so we're gonna move a portion of it outside to our beer garden and maybe just extend the beer garden just a little bit for that one day, so.
Okay, so this isn't really any different than what you've done in the past.
Right, it's not too different, it's just maybe gonna be a little bit bigger crowd, that's
Okay.
all, and,
What do you anticipate?
I think a couple hundred people aren't gonna pay to get in or anything, it's gonna be an open kind of, it's gonna be just sort of a little bit bigger version of our usual, busy crowd. So I just figured I'd give you guys a heads up, and
Okay.
we're gonna put up a temporary, barrier around the sidewalk to expand the capacity a little bit.
Questions?
No, like,
Great.
you've had that before.
We did for last year for our grand opening, we hadn't gotten the beer garden permit yet, so
Yeah.
we did a rope fence around the little courtyard that is
Right.
now the beer garden. Since the beer garden's already licensed, but it can only hold so many people, I'll just extend it a little bit, and like I said, drop a couple porta potties there to accommodate a bigger crowd. But nothing sort of outlandish.
Okay. Would you like to?
Sure. Make a motion that we grant the New City Brewery special one-day permit for October 1st.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I talked about this with Nikki a little bit. We are gonna have our 1-year anniversary party, October 15th, that's Columbus Day weekend. So I'd love the opportunity to come back in front of the board, at the October meeting, or even the September meeting if we get things planned well enough, but certainly for October. And that will be, a little bit bigger, but the Eastoberfest is sort of a trial run, kind of figure out how we can accommodate a little larger crowd. He had almost 1,000 people for his 1-year anniversary, so.
1,000?
Yeah.
Really?
We had like 800 or something like that. But he took over, he has a little bit wider parking lot, so he's able to spread out a little bit more. So for us, we're gonna just think about how to accommodate everybody and make sure we.
I need
handle
National
the
Guard.
crowd. Yeah, I need.
Take over the Millside Park for it.
Well, that's something that we're thinking about because it's so much bigger,
It's right there.
and it's right there, and there's the parking lot there. So I think we need to kind of huddle up, me and my team, and get through these next 3 weeks, which are a lot. I mean, it's a lot of logistics to handle. I sold almost all the beer I had ready, so there's been a few.
Well, I mean, if nothing else, I mean, it's great that you guys are making use of the Millside Park, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, and we're getting sponsorship from all the mill businesses and mill owners. So it really involves the local community and.
It's had great reviews on all the social media.
Yeah.
It's the talk of Facebook, that's for sure.
Well, people were having a great time. Lots of
They were.
families, lots of kids, because the playground's right there. So the kids, for parents, I'm not a parent yet, but I can imagine it being pretty fun. Kids can go play on the playground. They got art to look at, food trucks, and
Well, a lot of people are just happy it's something they can walk to.
Sure.
They don't have to drive. They can
we
walk
really
down the bike
encourage
path.
people to walk too because of the parking situation. So, all right. Well, thank you very much, and
Okay.
look forward to
All right,
seeing
great.
you guys again.
So
Thank
make sure
you.
you talk to the EPD.
I will go do that right now, and I'll be in touch with Nikki about that.
Sounds good.
Very good.
Thanks again.
Thanks, Sam. Yes.
Jason, you have the agenda.
I have an agenda or I have the agenda?
Could be both.
Okay. Yes, I do. Okay, so next up, notice to show cause hearing for Adamos. That's you guys.
you want us to
We'll make
slow
a
down?
motion.
Yeah, it would be helpful, maybe.
Make a motion?
Yes, can I get a motion to open this show cause hearing for
I
Adama?
make a motion that we open the show cause hearing for Adamas.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, okay. So, here we are. So, let's get us acquainted, reacquainted with this, and just summarize why and how we're here. So if you would like to start us off with that,
Sure.
state your name.
Attorney O'Leary for Roma's Restaurant, Inc.
Wilbur. My name is Wilbur Moreno, and I'm applying for the manager position.
Kevin Ross, I'm an employee.
Okay. Great.
So, Sarah Damos is not gonna be here tonight. She did send me an email today after I reached out to her, made some copies. Apparently she didn't really know what was going on. She was under the impression this was all taken care of. She's actually relocated to Greece. Well, you can read the email. She's getting her kids in school. She couldn't make it tonight.
You're a different attorney than was here at the last meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks a little different.
That's why I got
Yes,
I'm not that.
you are.
I didn't mean it to be wrong.
I don't know if you want to digest it, or I can talk, or you want
Let me digest it first a little bit. Okay.
And I've also, I have a decision on the ABCC. These aren't, it's not technically a guideline, it's just kind of guidance, I guess, for the local boards. In a situation where this is a issue of non-use. So we're talking about revoking the license, and one of the issues is commission likes to,
Who represented you when you purchased Adamas? Who was your attorney?
Cheryl Parker?
Okay, and I'm very confused, because you know me only by the phone. I'm Kelly, I work for Attorney Albano.
Oh, yes, hi.
So I know the procedures of when you have a client that is buying a business that has a liquor license, you don't really move forward until the liquor license, which is one of the most important aspects of the business, has been transferred, and that's when you close. You wait to close until
No,
that's.
absolutely.
So I don't understand how we got to this point, especially with Cheryl Parker, who is somebody who has been doing this forever.
Right.
So I don't understand where something went wrong, communications or
Yeah.
something, that somebody was supposed to be doing something that it didn't happen, and I need to understand that, why that happened.
I can tell you from talking with both my clients and Sarah, Frank Flannery
Yes.
kind of took over.
He's from Parker Brady.
Okay.
So I don't know that Cheryl was so involved, but they were all under the impression that this was just a formality, they could continue to use the license.
Correct. We were told by the attorney and the previous owner that the license was gonna transfer, and that's what we thought, and that's what we continued selling alcohol when we got the place.
And I truly believe that that's what you believed, because you were going under the advice of your attorney, who
Exactly.
should know that that wasn't the fact.
Exactly, and we're new
And
business
a phone
owners.
call
Yeah.
would have taken care of that very easily for that
Exactly.
attorney to find out. So that's where I take the most issue right now. And now, the best thing for us to do is to help you get this straightened out.
Exactly. We agree.
My concern is that this has been going on for a while now on this here. The owner of this license, the attorney knew what's been going on. This lady, in this letter here, says that the attorney has power of attorney, or whatever.
Right.
Where is he? Why isn't he here right now?
I think-
Excuse me, wait a minute.
Sure.
This license is under suspension. How can we transfer a letter, I mean, a license where we wanted somebody, at least somebody here, to talk about this? You can't transfer a license.
Well, I think,
Well, I guess the issue though is that, is it in fact technically been suspended? Has it been technically suspended?
I think there's a procedure that we.
There is
have
a
to follow,
procedure.
And what, it has not been, so.
There is a procedure,
Right. Well,
but
I
we
mean,
did request the
We
lady to
did.
be here,
We did.
understanding she can't.
You know
If
who
the
represented
our
her?
attorney to this,
It was
to the attorney, at
Cheryl
least
Parker.
the attorney could have
So
been
she was
here to
representing
ask her
both-
yeah,
questions.
she had him sign a.
The motion
confidential-
from the
or,
last meeting was to have the owners stop serving
Right.
alcohol
Right.
until such time that the board and they were advised.
Right.
So that was what the motion was made, so,
Mhm.
and that's what they did.
exactly.
So
that's why
technically,
we're
so
here.
what, I guess the issue, well, not the issue, but where we are right now is that the license itself isn't under suspension.
That's right.
Right, so that would, I guess, not preclude us from being, if in fact we get to this point, preclude us from transferring the license, since it's not suspended.
See, I think our position is, in this situation, you notify the current holder and say, either transfer it, use it, or we're gonna suspend it.
Okay.
That's the
I don't
procedure.
have a problem transferring it, you know?
Yeah.
I have absolutely no problem.
I think all parties, I just think they got bad advice.
We really
Yeah.
did. And like I said, we're new business owners, so we did not try to like do anything.
Sure, no, we believe that, and we don't wanna punish you guys, because we really don't think that you're at fault here, you know, at all. We just wanna make sure that we're getting everything
It's
straight,
no,
that's all,
which is
so.
understandable.
Okay, so then, did you have something else?
No, I just, my feeling is that I think there was wrong done, but I don't think we should just keep harping on that. I think we need to move
Great.
forward and help them
Right.
get this transferred in the correct process, and I believe Attorney O'Leary is guiding them correctly now, and this will get done properly, and they can get back into business and serving alcohol, because I know your business, I eat there. It's important, you get pizza and beer, that's what you're serving.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a bar, you're not serving
No,
alcohol all the time.
exactly.
It's just somebody coming in with their family and they're having a, and it's a big part of your business.
Yeah,
I'm sure you probably lost like, you
A
know,
lot of that.
60% of your revenue just by
Yeah.
not being able to serve
Yeah.
the alcohol. And, you know, I think we'll, definitely are going to try to work with you to get
Get
this
it
all
squared
straightened
away.
out.
Okay, so,
Thank you.
I guess that's the postmortem on that, so, that's fine. So, we have a license, and, I mean, are we able to just bleed this into the transfer, really? I mean, we're essentially got two agenda items here, one of which
So I
I think
think
was a
we need
mere
to-
formality,
Yeah.
and one of which is going to be the actual transfer.
So I think we need to address the notice to show cause hearing and make a motion onto what you're going to do with that. And I believe that could be simply, you know, notifying Sarah Adamo
Mhm.
that the license needs to be transferred.
Mhm.
And either you can continue the public hearing or just make that motion.
That's a very good point that you brought up. So, before we do that, so, where's the license? Who's got the license?
It's
Whose
at the
name is it
restaurant.
under?
It's under
She's got
Sarah.
it.
It's under
No, it's at the
Sarah's.
restaurant.
It's at, so the license is there with her name on it?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, fine. And as far as we know, the license is in good standing?
Yes.
Okay, and you folks have not been serving alcohol since you were here?
the previous time.
Okay, fine, so, looks like we're all understanding each other, we know why and where we are and how we got here. Fine, does anyone have anything else to add when it comes specifically to the show cause?
Nope, we're good
No?
there.
Okay, so can I get a motion that we close this show cause hearing? And with no further action regarding
Right.
regarding
I
the
make a
issue.
motion that we close the show cause hearing with no further action to be taken.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, okay, good, so let's move on.
Okay, so for the record, this is proposed transfer of annual all alcohol restaurant license from Adamos Inc. to Roma's Restaurant Inc.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. We should really open this public hearing for the
Sorry.
transfer of the license, sorry. So can I get a motion to open the public hearing for the transfer of license to Adamos Inc.?
I make a motion that we open the public hearing for the transfer of the all liquor license from Adamos Pizzeria and Restaurant, that's how they're doing business, I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
Adamos to Roma's Restaurant Inc.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Continue.
Thank you. So also on the board's recommendation, we have a new proposed manager, who is Wilbert Moreno, who's here with me now.
You'll be the manager?
Yes.
Okay.
He has, he worked for about 5 years
5 years.
with Bueno Isano, who's the cashier / shift manager. He was responsible, or they do serve alcohol
In
West Springfield.
one location, which is the one in West Springfield.
And he is tip certified. And Mr. Rosa as well.
Okay.
So I met with Wilbur, and he was actually very, understood the implications of being a manager.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility, but I am willing to take that, and I'm very responsible, because it's like, I'm going to school for nursing, so, taking this position is very important, because I don't want to risk not being able to get a job whenever I do get my nursing license.
Okay.
And when do you plan on being at Adamos? What are your
After
work-
school. So, I'm going to school part-time, and then I'll be at Adamos for 25 hours.
I'm
throughout
sorry,
the
I'm
week.
calling it Adamos at Roma's.
I get this as well, so don't worry.
So when you get out of school, so you'll be there in the evenings?
I'll be there Tuesdays in the evenings, Wednesdays in the morning, Thursdays in the evenings, and I'll also be there Sundays all day.
And when you're not there, you're there?
I'll be
Yes.
there.
Okay.
They're gonna make it a point to have somebody tip certified at all times.
Yeah, our
Yeah.
head, our server, just Corey Reckner.
Okay.
She'll be there. That's,
So, but you've retained most of the wait staff or staff that was there before, isn't that right?
correct.
When
There's
it was
only
a Dom
one.
when- from
Yeah,
the previous owner.
There's
They
only
have a
one.
lot of turnover there for
Yeah, I
a
imagine,
while.
so, yes, sure.
So yeah, we only have one left from the previous owner.
Okay.
That's the waitress.
All right.
All right.
Questions? You have anything more?
We're just asking the board to accept approve the application for the transfer.
So I don't,
Yeah.
my question is, I don't know the exact procedure for this. Does the previous owner need to sign on something?
No, she's already signed the, whatever she needs to in the application.
Okay, so she has completed
She's
anything
fulfilled.
she has to do. And I could see from, I was looking at the purchase and sale agreement and stuff, that it was to be transferred over and everything. That was the intent when they paid.
So it actually was in the closing?
Yes.
Correct.
Oh, it was, totally.
Okay. So then, yeah, so your question is the actual physical transfer of it is just simply what we're doing here
Us
tonight?
approving and now, then it going in to be signed off on.
To the ABCC?
Right.
Okay.
They're the last part of the
Right.
transfer.
Tim, was there a second page with that corporate? I earmarked that just because the one I had in there had a signature page and the one that I received today did not, so I just wanted to make sure.
What's the name of the new place now?
Roma?
Oh,
Roma.
Are you still
Are you
doing
Is
calling
it gonna
this?
be, is it still gonna be called a Dom? It's still a Dom,
Oh.
Yeah, we'll
okay.
be changing it soon, I believe, though.
Are you guys related to the Roma in West, Southwick?
No.
No, I was just curious.
That's okay, no.
No. And they know they can't serve alcohol until they get the
Yeah.
actual license.
From the ABCC.
Yes.
Do you want to avoid any further?
No,
Yours.
no, you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
You said no as of now, because we didn't know.
I guess this is the place to ask.
Yeah, so,
Let me guess.
so a lot of our.
Let me guess what you're gonna ask, BYOB.
Yeah.
Which we have no policy on.
We have no policy.
So you heard what we had to say
If
before.
you tell the police and the landlord says okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean,
And your
well, I can
insurance
talk to them about the wife.
knows that
Yeah.
that's what you're doing.
Okay,
Yeah,
We have no say in
but we
it.
really don't.
all right,
As long as you don't provide it.
okay.
Yeah.
You can't put it in the cooler and keep it
Can't-
cold
you
for
can't
them.
pour it
You
in a
can't
glass
touch
for
it.
them, You
Okay.
can't
Yep.
open the beer, you can't uncork the wine.
Oh,
I think technically you're not even supposed to provide the cork, isn't that right, Ray?
I'm sorry, what was-
At BYOB, you can't even provide the corkscrew, I mean.
you know, I don't know, but
Anyway.
that's Paul.
You just.
So, yeah, you just, you
real
gotta stay, you gotta stay away
that's why
from
we
it.
just told the.
Yeah.
We went through this
that we were not
before.
We
aware
did,
of
that's
that,
why I'm
so we
asking
just
you.
told them not to.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
told them not.
Okay.
I mean, you can now, but it's just like I said, you know, your waitress
Contact.
can't be the one that's
Touch it.
pouring it or anything like that.
All right.
It's definitely self-serve.
Yeah, because you have to have a cork for Budweiser, Bud Light.
Right, a special one,
A
right? You don't want the
special
Bud
one.
wines touching the Bud Light.
Yeah, well, that's a special wine.
That's
Let
right.
me look though at the other ones.
Okay, so do we have anything else? Nicolette, is there anything you want to add? Mr. O'Leary?
No.
Good. Okay, good.
We're out of here.
Can we get a motion?
Make a motion that we
Hold on,
close the
hold on.
meeting.
Okay, can we make a motion on this for sure?
Yeah, let's make a motion on this before we close the
Oh.
meeting. Good?
One more clerical housekeeping item, $50 Visa tap.
Pay, it's probably better to do a check payable
then
to
bring
the
a
city of
check
East Hampton. They can
tomorrow?
drop it,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
I'll give it tomorrow, so I can send it.
Well, I have to come in here tomorrow. Yeah, so where do I leave it?
In my office, you can just come see me in the mayor's office.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Okay.
Can we get a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the transfer of the all alcohol license from Adamos to Roma's.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Great. No.
Just one?
I think it's only one.
Yeah, it is only one.
Are we on the right side? Yes.
Well, we wanna thank you for taking the time and meeting with us.
Not a problem. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Good luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You guys have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Make a motion, we close the meeting for tonight.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.